All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Financial Advisory Podcast. Today's guest is Clarence Strong, and welcome, buddy.
Welcome. Thanks for having me.
So him and I met a couple weeks ago at I guess now a mutual friend, John Sarasani's event. We're in Las Vegas, and if you don't know who John Sarasani is, highly recommend you follow him. He's got a pretty big social media presence, and I reached out to John to be on his podcast, and that kind of turned into him throwing an event in Las Vegas. It all came together really quickly. And then he came, ironically, we're both from Colorado, meet in Las Vegas. And, hey, man, where you from? Oh, Colorado? Shit, cool. So then when I decided to do my podcast, I'm like, Clarence, you want to be on? He goes, hell yeah. So super cool dude. And one of the first things I noticed about you was you were black. And then I noticed your watch. You got a badass watch. And I want to highlight this thing. So I recently got into watches. So like, I'm recognizing them more and more eagerly, right? So I know which one stand out. You know, yours stands out. So let's talk about your watch. Is it a gift you got yourself? Was it like, it's a pretty big watch for anybody. So I have to hear the story behind it. Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously I'm big into watches. My father was a Rolex guy. Okay. And so first Rolex I probably bought 2 or 3 years ago. And a lot of now the secondhand dealers let you trade up. So I had 2 Rolexes. That was kind of, okay, I made it. I'm there. Yeah. And then I was kind of getting into more watches. I'm like, man, Rolex is great, but there's more than that. There's more. Tech, there's AP. And so
it goes so much higher.
Man, so much higher. And so I traded a couple of those in, and then I got a couple APs.
Okay.
So kind of upgrade there. And then you got to go up, and then it's like, okay, the Holy Grail's Patek. That's the Holy Grail for a lot of watch collectors. And so, last year, I've been working really hard, and I said, let me reward myself. And so this was kind of like my dream watch. And so I got it maybe 6 months ago. And at the event I mentioned, it was like only the second time I wore it. So, but no, this is my baby right here.
You told me that too. And you're like, that's the only time. I'm like, dude, I fucking noticed it right away. And the cool thing, and you mentioned that Patek is the Holy Grail of watches. You also have an all gold one. So there's levels to Patek, right?
Yeah.
And I think, I don't know for sure, you're the higher level, right? You're at the highest, one of the highest levels. I mean, it's a badass. People who are just looking at watches like, and I'll be honest, man, like a year ago, I didn't give a shit about watches. I wore an Apple Watch up to about a year ago.
Way.
Didn't know let's be honest, had you not been wearing that watch, we wouldn't be talking right now, right? So like, it does things for people. It brings validity. It brings a conversation sometimes.
It does.
It attracts the right people, right? Some bum walking down the street may not recognize what that watch is. Hey, it's a cool looking watch, whatever. But like people who know. And now it brings in a whole different level of clientele sometimes, or a conversation or friendship, or it's just like a check mark. It's really cool. I never understood it until recently, and now I get it. I'm like, So like for me, my get it watch was a little different, couple different zeros there, but
I mean that's still a nice watch.
It's still a badass watch.
It's still a badass watch.
If you don't know, Rolex, this is a Sky Dweller two-tone, and like it's a harder to get watch. And my jeweler got it for me really quickly. So I got it on purpose because there's more and more common Rolexes. This one's less common. I got this on purpose for people who like watches. They know that's watch, right? It's like, oh, Skydweller, two-tone? Yeah, of course, man. I don't give a shit. It's like I wanted the attraction, right? So that's a cool watch, dude. I love that story.
I mean, no, you're so right. I mean, when I didn't really get it until now when I travel. I mean, I wear some APs and I'll sit on a flight and someone goes, hey man, that's a nice watch. Yeah. Or even you recognize it. I didn't really know. Like, I didn't realize that until you point, like, it's a conversation starter. So now when I go in the room, sometimes people are like, oh, hey, man, that watch.
Let's chat. You got the watch. Unless you stole it, how'd you get it? Because it's a fucking cool thing, man.
Yeah.
And it's big money. So, like, for people who, like, don't understand it, like, that's okay. Because maybe your business or whatever you do for a profession may not require it. You may not actually, it may not help you. Like, if I'm building power lines, that watch would probably get me kicked off the right away. No one's going to give a shit. That's a truck. That's a truck on my wrist, and I'd be called. I would feel silly wearing it. Wouldn't make any sense. Now it's different, and it makes sense. So that's really cool, man. That's how we met. So let's go into like, obviously we met. Didn't really get a chance to talk a whole lot because it was kind of a quick event. But like, let's talk about what you do, man. Like what you do for work. I see you have a nonprofit. I want to talk about that too. But like, what's your day-to-day? What's your day job essentially? What do you do for a living?
So now I'm an advisor and a consultant. So for the last few years, I was in the fintech industry. So I was an executive for a couple of startups.
Okay.
So about maybe 10 years or so ago, I started with a company out here in Denver. Started off just being a loan consultant. Okay. I kind of worked my way up, and then I became a director, and then I became a VP of sales. So went to Minnesota, a company out there, and helped them start up a company. I was VP of sales there. And then my most previous company, Caribou Financial, I was recruited out there by CEO Kevin Bennett. So I moved out there in 2019 to 2020, and then rest is history. I went out there and took the role of senior vice president, and then obviously the rates dropped, and so we crushed it. Got to a $1.2 billion valuation. Nice. Led by Goldman Sachs, and I was doing that I was there about 4 years, and then obviously the market then went the opposite direction.
Yep.
And so they brought in a new CEO, and I had been doing some advising for some dealerships and things like that because my father was a big GM in a big dealership out here in Colorado, and so I always had a passion for auto in the finance side of it, and so. New CEO's kind of making some changes with the org, and I had a phenomenal vice president underneath me, and so we kind of negotiated a deal, and I'm able to just advise with them, and now I can kind of do that full time. So now I'm pretty much do word of mouth. So I advise for some dealerships, some advertising, and then some credit unions and banks and stuff like that. So.
Okay. So when you say advise for a dealership, are you saying like, hey, I'm going to come in and help you guys spend your money better, or get loans better? Like, what do you mean advising?
Yeah, so essentially, it's either trying to help them with their credit union partners or bank partners. It's the number one profit driver for a dealership. It's actually the F&I, so gap warranty and all that, and then also help them tighten up their operations, comp plans, things like that.
Okay,
so
I got you. So what's that TV? Bar rescue? You like dealership rescue? No. Start yelling and screaming at people. I like that. That'd be cool.
Yeah. And a lot of banks and credit unions. Again, that's one of my biggest passions. Is obviously in the previous company I worked at, the credit unions are where we kind of take people from. When you go to a dealership and you get with Ally Financial and you get 20%, a lot of the credit unions are the ones who get you down to 4 or 5%. But a lot of dealerships don't work with them, and so I also work with credit unions and banks to kind of broaden their outreach to consumers because that's their problem. A lot of banks and credit unions don't know how to get new members.
Gotcha.
And so my previous company, they give new members and they also save the person money.
So you just connect people, like you connect the dealership to the credit union.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. I like that. And that's your day job. You have a nonprofit too. What's your nonprofit like?
Yeah, so it's W.I.T.T. So I started that actually the same time I went to Caribou. So I started that with my co-founder Anna. She was always volunteering at the Denver Children's Home, and so I was very passionate about that. And so in 2020 we became official. So we got WIT.org as the website, and pretty much we work with children who are disadvantaged, and we're trying to mentor.
That's awesome.
And yeah, so you usually about once a month we typically go. We cook them breakfast. We're there for Christmas Eve, New Year, stuff like that. It's a passion of mine.
Yeah,
a big passion probably because I know I'm where I'm at today because I was blessed to have both of my parents. Yeah, I know I was blessed, and so a lot of people don't have that blessing. And so Anna and I just really want to give back to children to give them the opportunity to be successful.
I did a nothing as cool as that, but I did the Ferrari tour drive, Denver Ferrari tour drive.
Okay, I heard about that. Okay,
that was super cool, and we had it was a bad weather day. And we gave also all the SUVs showed up, right? So I had the G-Wagon, had it full of toys, right?
Yeah.
And we did this big parade down to the Denver Children's Hospital. And man, like seeing all those toys like funnel into that hospital, I was like, that is touching, man. Like, there's nothing sadder than a disadvantaged kid or a sick kid, right? Like, adults, we can take care of ourselves. It's one thing. It's sad enough. But then for kids, we all know how important it is to make sure they're on the right path at an early age. That mentorship, like you're talking about, the dual parenting, man, it's massive. So good on you for doing that. So how can somebody help if they wanted to? Is it you guys take donations or you guys take fundraisers?
So we take donations. We go to the website. There's a link. You can donate there, and then occasionally on Facebook we'll post and just volunteer. So either volunteer or money. I mean, it's a very big passion for Anna and I, and that was one of the blessings when I was able to kind of get this deal where I can advise because when I've worked for a company in the past, I'm 24/7, 7 days a week, and with this recent thing, I'm able to give more time to that.
Take a little chill pill, enjoy it. Yeah.
Yes, give more time to think I'm
pretty
passionate
jacked.
about.
Go to the gym a little more, right?
I try to.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get like you.
Well, it's cool that I think everybody has a drive to make money.
Yeah.
For whatever reason that may be. Could be for their family, could be for themselves, could be to give back. And then you also have a purpose. And sometimes they're the same, sometimes they're not. Sounds like yours is kind of aligned with you're driven to get money, aligned with your purpose to give back too.
100%.
I like that. Yeah, it's one of Arnold's biggest rules, right? He's got 6 rules to success, and one of them is give back.
Yeah.
And people ask me too, like, what's your goals? What do you want to be? And like, I want to be rich, like filthy, silly, stupid rich, to give a lot back too. Because you can make a lot of people happy, and you can influence, change the world with a certain amount of money. And like, there's different levels to it, obviously. But sometimes people think about getting rich as a selfish way, but I think that the more you look at it selflessly, you're just going to make it even further.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. I mean, throughout the years before Anna and I were able to take donations, a lot of it, we were self-funding it.
Yeah.
And that was because I was able to make money. And then, Anna has 2 children and her husband works. And so a lot of that money was coming from my job. And so you're 100% right. I think sometimes being successful or making a lot of money has a bad stigma, but for me, it enables me to give back.
People see the watches, they see the Range Rover, right? So it must be nice. Well, yeah, motherfucker, it is nice. It is nice. You should fucking try it. Try working.
It's hard
and
work.
When you get back, though, it's like, well, you don't see that part, do you? You didn't see me give me, people don't want to see that.
They don't want to see that.
They don't. People suck sometimes. But let them be, But yeah, the people that matter, they're the ones giving back and starting charities and whatnot. So what's different? And educate me on nonprofit versus a charity or different ways to give back. Like, how is a nonprofit actually structured? So that it makes a nonprofit.
Actually, Anna would be the person to know that.
I'd be interested in starting one. I want to start a foundation. Or there's foundations and there's different things of levels of charity. I would just be interested in learning that with you because I'm on my way there too.
Yeah.
Right? So I want to be doing something like that.
Yeah, and that's part of the reason why I was happy to be able to advise now because I can dig more into that. Because initially it was Anna, so she's the one. She's co-founder president. She's put a lot of the work in, and so I've had to work my primary job. We wouldn't be where we're at without her, and that's because she's been able to dedicate the time. But that's why we actually had to fill out the paperwork and we had to do all that stuff in 2020 because
make it legal, right?
We had to make it legal because a lot of these places you want to volunteer and they want to make sure you have all your ducks in a row. Or when people want to donate money, so that's where we got the website going and all those kind of things. So I'll have more of that information for you later. Just not
that's
right
cool,
now.
man. We can edit that part out or whatever. Whatever. Yeah, I think it's awesome. I think that giving back, man. Like people tend to overlook that. They look at the Lambos or the nice shit. Like, what are you doing? It's like, man, I don't even know what I do to give back. Like giving back, even me, it's mentorship. Or I get kids come up to me at the gym. Hey man, how do you have the Lambo? And me just talking to that kid is giving back, right? Like there's levels to giving back, but like showing that kid, hey man, you can do this. I'm young. You can do this stuff. Like getting guys on the right path, the mentorship, because maybe that kid's parents only knows working 9 to 5, right?
Exactly.
That's all we know is education, what our parents teach us. And my parents, owned a business but it was pay cash for everything, and it was save your money, and no investments were ever talked about.
Right,
money was never talked about at the dinner table. It was like, you don't worry about what we make, kid. We're fine. The roof's over your head, and we got food on the table. You mind your business, right? Had they had the conversation with me, that'd be way further. So my 100%. Kids now, I'm like, we talk about money. Hey, what do you want to do? Like, this is what this costs. This is, education is massive. And I think with what you're doing, and as far as giving back and like these mentorship things, like that's all part of it. They're gonna look at you and like, how's he have that watch? How's he have that car? Like, this isn't by accident. Like rich people just fall out of the sky. Like he did something, right? So like, that mentorship is massive,
Yeah, no, and that's one of the things I'm working to do now is actually just mentoring more. Honestly, like either underprivileged or even African Americans. I mean, you joked about the first thing he knows about me is the black in the watch, and so me and my previous vice president Scott O'Hara. One thing that's big for us is that sometimes people get into that trap of I can't make it because I'm this.
Yeah,
and so
could be anything, skin color,
could be anything,
short, tall, fat,
and so for me, I feel like I have to be a voice for no. You can be African American, you can make it. I mean, I've made it. I've worked really hard, and so has Scott. And so, but a lot of people just don't know. They just don't have the knowledge, and that's why I know I was blessed because my parents, my father taught me other things to do right to kind of make it. And he said, it could be harder because of your skin color, but that's not going to stop you. Correct. And so I'm proof of that. That it won't stop you if you work harder, you're diligent. Because one thing is money is green, and if a person thinks they can make money with you, they don't care what you are.
No, they don't. So, really, smart people don't anyway, right? And that's what people who have money are pretty smart.
They are pretty smart.
Yeah, I think that, man. I think you touched on me seeing that you're black or whatever, like the adversity, right?
Yeah.
I have, and by no way, please don't take this the wrong way. I hope nobody listening takes this the wrong way, but like I have a level of that too with adversity, with the way I look in my industry. Like I don't look like a financial advisor. I don't look like I do well with insurance. I don't look like I can talk about money.
You have tattoos, you can't do well.
Right, exactly. I don't look like that, right?
Right.
So I've had that. People look, what are you doing, Tony? You build power lines. You're good at building power lines, but what the fuck do you know about money? And like I had that to overcome, right? And it's certainly nothing to do with, or nothing at the level of what you went through, but like there's versions of that for everybody. And like same thing, I'm like, nah, man, I'll be good. This is it actually works to my favor because I can bring it down to a certain level, not look so uppity in the suit and tie, and it doesn't fit me. I make this fit me, and I reach out to clients that I want to work with versus the other way around, right? So like it was funny. I had when I first went to Northwestern Mutual, my first mentor was black. His name was Harrison.
Okay.
And him and I joked about starting out an adversity club at Northwestern because they were actually already asking him to start kind of speaking on adversity and like, and just like the differences, right? And what he has to go through. And he's like, dude, you should he brought it to me. He goes, dude, you should join it. I'm like, bro, I'm the least thing. I'm white. I'm a white middle-aged man. What the fuck what do I know about adversity, man? Like, or diversity. Yeah. I'm like, I'm not. What are you talking about? He goes, no, man. He goes, look at you. Look around you. No one else looks like you. No one else talks like you. No one else. He goes, you're just like me. I'm like, oh fuck, I am. So we actually joked about starting, not joked, but like had conversations about me joining that, and I ended up leaving the firm and start with Penn Mutual. But like, yeah, it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool that it doesn't. What you look like doesn't matter.
No,
it's how you treat people, how you act, what you know about your job. Money's green. People will listen.
Green.
If you can help them out, they were going to listen, man. Yeah. So what about? I assume you weren't in finance your entire life. So what did you do before that? Like, did you ever have a W-2 job, or what's that look like?
So obviously my previous company was W-2 job, and so before, I was in that industry for about 10 years, and then before that I was in retail.
Okay,
I was in retail, so I worked at Circuit City, and before Circuit City. Yeah.
I like these old people, man. You guys even know about Circuit City, do you?
Yeah. I don't know about Circuit City.
Hell no, don't even tell them. Google it. Google it. Go get an encyclopedia and read it.
Hey, you know what? Go watch 40-Year-Old Virgin. Go watch 40-Year-Old Virgin. If anyone's watching, go watch 40-Year-Old Virgin. That's what Circuit City was. That's what Circuit City was. And so that was the kind of job that put me through college, and so I worked there. And then I worked. There was another company that went belly up, Ultimate Electronics. So I did commission there. Commission
is that here in Denver?
It used to be. They went out of business.
Are you born and raised in Denver?
So I've been in Denver for about 20-something years.
Okay.
I was actually I was born in Memphis, Tennessee.
Okay,
so that's where I'm from. But my mom worked for the government, so I've lived in Arizona.
I got you. Yeah, I thought Circuit City was a Chicago brand for some reason. I mean, Service Merchandise was. There was some other venture, but they go both. Right? And for people listening, like basically it's survival of the fittest in all industries, right? And it came down to Best Buy and Circuit City, and
Best
Buy won. That's all it is. And so Circuit City was just another Best Buy that was red. You know, they had a cool logo, the cool commercial with the plug coming in, big, like lightning and shit. They had some wild ass commercials, man. But yeah, Best Buy won. That's all we see. You kids these days don't even know you guys got to go. We have to use to shop at the price match. Fucking, they be out of stock at Best Buy. You got to go over to Circuit City.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was in retail for probably over 10 years. Okay. Then essentially what happened was I wanted to work for my dad's dealership. And then he had just got promoted, and he was like, well, son, I just got promoted. I can't have you in here to be weird.
Yeah.
And so he was like, so go learn finance someplace else. And so that's when I went to my first fintech company as a loan officer.
Okay.
So yeah, but I mean, look, I'll tell anybody, I mean, I had a lot of great experience the last 20 years working W-2s because I learned a lot. And so, I'll tell anybody is use that knowledge and experience to then go do your own thing.
Like an apprenticeship. Yeah.
Some
people take it to where they get handcuffed by it.
Correct.
And they live by, I'm good here. I don't have to go anywhere. That's not good. But learning from those people is the best thing you can do. You don't want to be an entrepreneur at 20 years old, know nothing, and be like, I'll figure it out. It's going to be harder.
Correct.
To be an entrepreneur at age 30 after 10 years of W-2 experience, it's way easier. Easier. And that's actually a lot of my success comes from that because people ask me, hey, man, you're fucking killing it. You've only been doing this for 2 years. I want to do what you do. I'm like, man, even my kid, because when my kid was younger, he wanted to be a lineman like daddy, right?
Yeah.
Now I want to go do what you do. I'm like, the reason I'm as successful as I am, I did something really hard for a long time.
Correct.
I built my network. I built my life skills. This is the easiest job I ever had. Somebody tells me, they hang up on me. Oh, fuck, okay. Boo-hoo, right? My last job, somebody could die. Like, that was the difference of bad day on the job before, someone died. Bad day today is someone hangs up on me. It's a fucking big difference here. So, like, easiest job I ever had. Perspective, right?
Perspective.
So, like, now it's like, man, if I had to come into this job when I was 20 years old, I probably wouldn't make it. I don't know if I would make it.
No, you nailed it. I mean, look, at my previous job, I was able to network, meet a lot of people. So some of my current clients that I advise for now, I met through my last company.
There you go.
Because my company, as long as it's not competing, they're like, oh yeah, you can kind of do your own thing, and it's building your network is really, really important. Yeah. I mean, it's I know but you got to have a good network because that makes it easy when you stand on your own.
Yeah.
You already know people. You're not you're not hitting the curb with nothing.
Right? Because then you're just knocking on doors, talking to strangers, and it's like, okay, yeah, you're going to get your reps in. That's okay. That's fine. But man, like having something to fall back, like a backbone of network, like, hey man, like for me, it was linemen. I'm going to go talk to all my linemen. I am a lineman. I can talk to you guys. I know how to speak caveman. I speak fluent caveman. I can, explain this with a pair of clients, right? I can do that. But then I just got my reps in. I built and I learned, kept going. Okay, cool. I'm going to talk to entrepreneurs. I'm going to talk to realtors. I'm going to talk to nurses. Different, right? But if I didn't have that, way harder to get going.
Correct.
Yeah.
But
100%. It's been a lot of fun. Like, when I was building power lines, it was like I figured everybody worked a 9 to 5 job. Like, how do you guys fucking afford this house, man? Hooking the lights back on. This is a mansion. Like, how much do you make an hour? That's what I would think. how much do you got to make an hour to live here? It's like, I made $50-$60 an hour. I thought it was tall cash, but like, he must make $300 an hour. It's like, it's not by the hour, bro. That's where you lose it. Like, that's the big difference, the big separator,
Yeah, no, it definitely is. I mean, I think that was a big thing I learned at even working. You look at you look at their income doing finance and like, what does this person do? I mean, there's so much more money out there than I think we think. I mean, when I was young, it was just, maybe it was the same for you, just get to 6 figures.
Yeah.
That was six figures. You made it. And then it's like, 6 figures really not that much.
I know.
Like, I ain't saying that. I mean, it is, but like,
I'd lose my house.
I mean, yeah. So
I'd starve. I'd be in a soup line if I made,
I mean, yeah, there's so much money out there.
6 figures.
Yeah.
But yeah, and also like, there's so much money to be made, and it's just education how to make it, because there's so much out there. People think money's hard to make. It's really not. When you shift your mindset, it's like, man, it's easier to make an extra 10 grand than it is to save 10 grand.
It is.
And add a zero to that, right? I mean, way easier. So what people were taught by their parents, who had grandparents who lived through World War II, or whatever it is. What's up, guys? I'm sure you're enjoying the podcast. It's fucking awesome. I know. Okay. But let's talk about one of my sponsors, Alpine Moving Company. So we all know that moving sucks. Okay. Stop asking your buddies to fucking move you. It's always a problem. We know that. Be an adult. So use Alpine Moving Company. They know how to get the shit done. They offer residential and commercial moving. Also, they will move you anywhere within North America, anywhere in the lower 48, Canada, Mexico. And they're going to hook you up with 10% off. So discount code MOVE24. Make the right move. Passed on. It's almost like trauma being passed on generation. People don't look at it as trauma, but like financial trauma is passed on. People are like, man, I don't want to buy a house right now. Interest rates are too high. It's like, bro, you're missing out on opportunity. If you wait for the perfect opportunity, you've missed out on so much opportunity. So like, that gets passed on. That's not something you just wake up with. It's like the way your dad just will buy cash for everything and not want to finance. Okay, cool. You're going to get to a certain level.
Yeah,
cool. But you're not going to go here. And then like it gets passed on to their kids. Like, oh, my dad always just bought the tractor for cash. Okay, cool. That's all you're ever going to get to then, man. So like, I think people don't talk about, I don't even know if financial trauma is a real word or not, but like people don't talk about that being passed down negatively, right? Because if you don't have anyone to look up to, or maybe you hear it from your parents and you recognize it's not right, then where do you turn to? That was me. I was like, man, that's what I've been taught my whole life, but it doesn't seem right. So here I am on my own now, like, I didn't have a me to lean into. So
yeah, no, you're 100% right. I mean, I think in the same thing with, bad spending happens, right? I mean, so if your parents were ones who were in a lot of debt or max out a bunch of credit cards or always had big car payments, stuff like that. Like sometimes you just think that's how you're supposed to live. Yep. You nailed it. So both things are definitely true, and that's why I love mentoring, love being there for children and stuff like that, just to teach them, because not everyone has that either relationship with their parents or they just don't have their parents in their life at all to kind of teach them.
The best people to teach them.
Right. Yeah. And so I think that's why it's really, important for people like you, myself, and stuff like that to talk about our stories and let people know there's different ways to do it. And you can be successful, and there's a blueprint. Yeah.
I jokingly say sometimes when I get in arguments either online or in person, my financial advisor says this, my financial advisor, I'm like, cool, what color is his Lambo? Oh, he drives a Kia? You're going to take financial advice from that dickhead? Good luck. And it's not being arrogant, but it's making a real big point. Like, dude, why would you take advice from anybody who doesn't have what you don't have, what you don't want? Right? Yeah. And it's a big, so like same thing with like your parents. Like you can love your parents, but you don't got to take financial advice from them.
Right.
If they're not in a spot that you want to be, then don't ask them for financial. Hey man, good to see you on Christmas. I love you. Can you help me move some furniture, whatever it is. Like you can keep them at certain lengths, but like maybe don't go to your family for financial advice if they're not balling out like you want to be.
Correct.
If you're comfy and they're comfy, cool. But you want to ask somebody who has done it and isn't a spot you want to be. Not people sometimes get tripped up in family where they're kind of handcuffed by their family because like, hey, Aunt Susie's my realtor. I'm going to use her, and she sucks at her fucking job, but she's a realtor. I got to use her, and you get stuck losing your ass on your house because she sucked at her job or she loses the deal. But it's my aunt, it's family. It's like people get hung up in that trap all the time too.
Yeah, no, they definitely do. It's one thing my father taught me, because I've been in sales. So sales is kind of my background of what I've always done in my life. And it's one thing he taught me was when you get to a certain level, you want to take bits and pieces from everybody, all the great salespeople, and blend it into your own way. So you're right. Maybe you take one thing from your father that he taught you, take one thing from your mother, and then take something from someone else you've met into your life. And so that's what I do. I mean, there's things I do today that, just like what my dad told me, just what my mom told me. They didn't always just agree on things, but I take little bits and pieces from everybody, and I kind of put it together to create myself and how I'm going to do it.
Like, not everyone knows that or can recognize that. It's not even. It's like just people that are just blind loyalty to. There could be their high school teacher. It could be whatever. Somebody idolizes somebody sometimes incorrectly, and it's like, well, my teacher has this truck. I'm going to get this truck. Okay, cool, man. But like, you really want to, I don't know. It's just, it's another whole other thing, man. But it's a great point because, so many people get wrapped up in, oh, it's my family. I've got to do that. And it's like, man, you don't really have to.
No.
Yeah. What about like, obviously things are going well for you.
Yep.
Judging by the watch.
Yeah.
They're going great for you.
I love that. All right.
I love it. I'm going to keep on pointing that thing out. Totally get some zoom in on that. What about some struggle? What's the first time you got, kicked in the teeth? Like, what was like, you're on your own, you're killing it, and all of a sudden, bam, it's not just going straight up anymore. What was one of that moments like?
I think, I would say maybe 3 to 6 months ago, obviously I was at my current company and I was still doing a lot of the advising, and you get to those moments where, you need to make the move all in and having nothing guaranteed. Oh, yeah. And you're trying to please, obviously I have a wife, I have a daughter, and new CEO, and it's the uncertainty. It's a struggle. Oh, yeah. It's the uncertainty and not knowing if you should definitely make the move. And when you make the move, if it's going to work out, in that fear. Mm-hmm. And I think kind of going out, doing it, being on my own, and then obviously not having any advising gigs, but then all of a sudden everything starts hitting. And now people reaching out to you and stuff like that. And so I would say maybe about 3 months ago, I had nothing working. Okay. And then, I was separating from my organization and just not being sure if it was going to work.
Just winging it.
Yeah, just winging it, right? Just winging it. And then it all worked out, right? And then once you get past that fear, it all works out.
Yeah, it's winging it. We laugh and joke, but it's not really just winging it because you're not getting lucky. It's all the work you put in, it's all the reps you put in. It's all the faith you have in yourself. It's like there's uncertainty, but man, like deep down, you're like, man, it's going to work. It may not work exactly how I want it to work out. Right. Something's going to work. I'm not going to starve. I have enough skill. I've got enough. I got enough me. Right. Shit's going to work, right? Yes. I had a little bit of that when I switched from building power lines to doing this, man. I was like, what the fuck am I doing, man? Like I let some other doubt creep in. Yeah. Hell no, I know what I'm doing. I got this. I got this, And then, but nobody, I'm telling you, even my wife did not understand. Nobody saw it coming. Right. When I would text people, because I was doing like a mass reach out to everyone. Once I knew it was official, I got people text me back. Goes, man, call me so I know this ain't a prank. Like people, no one believed me. My wife didn't understand why I want to give up $300,000 a year to go make uncertain amount of money. I'm like, well, I'm tired of working as hard as I've been working. Now I'm going to go bet on myself. And the projection I saw was a pay cut year 1, pay cut year 2, and upside after that. And I'm like, I'm still up before I'm 40. Let's do this, Yeah. And because I know how hard I was working. And I was working, I get my retirement statement every year, give you a breakdown of your hours. And I was working 4,000 hours a year, for like 4 years in a row. It's crazy. Averaging 80 hours a week on a pretty difficult job with transport in there too, right? So I was like, man, that was like my eye-opening moment. Like I can't outwork this. The old adage, let's work harder, work. I can't outwork what I'm already doing. No. I'm capped out, right? So when I made the leap, man, and that uncertainty, that doubt was like, if I don't do this is a commission-only gig now, man, it's got to work. It'll be fine. Yeah. And then it did. But it did, but like I wouldn't let like that fear of the uncertainty creep in because I'm like, man, the upside's so big. And I've always bet on myself and different things. I've moved across the country and I've done a few different things. It seems to always work out, right? Yeah. So having that confidence to do it, man, like I don't know if you can teach that. I mean, no,
I don't think you can. Actually, now I'm thinking about it. So actually, no, I'll tell you one of the moments was when I was working in retail, and then I first got into this industry specifically. It was 100% commission, and so it's funny. You worked at Northwestern Mutual. A very good friend of mine. You might know her name's Desiree. She works for Northwestern, and I was leaving retail, and I was getting into this job, and it was 100% commission, and I was scared. I just bought my house. I was single. I maybe had $10,000 in the bank. And I was like, I don't know. Oh, it's gonna, and it's no guarantee. Yeah. And that decision, I made a couple that was the decision. I remember I was texting her and another friend. They're like, Clarence, what's the worst that could happen? Yeah. You'll figure it out. You'll get another job. And so I left that job. So leaving that retail job was one of the biggest decisions I made. That was big guaranteed. Right? Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah. And then the first 3 months, I was horrible. Ooh. I made no money in my current field.
I knew it. I told me I wasn't. Right.
So I'm sitting there going, and I'm spinning my wheels. I'm making no money. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, month 4, it clicked. and the rest has been history. And that's what I'll tell anybody. I mean, look, you have to take risk.
Yeah.
That was a decision. I was at the time I was a GM of a retail location making 6 figures, but I was working a lot, and I was like, I just know.
And you're probably capped out too, right?
Oh yeah. I was never going to get past 120.
Yeah.
And then I heard about this other industry, fintech people making 20, 25 grand a month.
Yeah.
And I took that risk and it worked out. And then obviously I was able to move myself up, and then I became a director. And then, there's always those moments. Another moment, I was a director there, and the vice president opportunity in Minnesota popped up.
Okay.
But I was in Minnesota. I don't know if anyone's lived in Minnesota. It is absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
And
it's like the Midwest, but worse. I come from Illinois, Chicagoland. I think that Chicago has a worse climate on earth.
Yeah.
Minnesota might be worse.
Yeah. That's horrible. And same thing. I was opportunity. I had a safer gig.
Yeah.
I was here, but to go to this startup, and it worked out. So I went to Minnesota, packed my stuff up, and it worked out. It was a big risk, but you gotta take those risks. You gotta take those risks.
A stripper steal my wallet in Minnesota one time. I'm still not mad.
Really?
Still not happy about that. Wow. Allegedly. That came from Vegas too. Went from Vegas where there's some professional women there. You know what I mean?
Vegas
Pros.
is crazy.
Then you go to Minneapolis, they fucking rip me off. Anyhow, I digress. But stay out of Minneapolis strip clubs, folks.
Yes, I've never been to one, but I'm definitely not going to go to one now. Actually, don't go to Minnesota. Just don't go.
Yeah, just the whole state.
Just don't go to Minnesota.
Yeah. You can't be too safe. Just stay out of Minnesota, just in case. So let's talk about sales, man. Because you touched on sales, and you're in sales, or we're in sales. But how I feel like sales is going back to my kids asking me what to do, and guidance I want to give them. And right now I want them to finish high school and just kind of work on that. But I feel like sales is so important to where that's the real path to entrepreneurship, right?
It is
even if you're just selling ketchup popsicles or getting your teeth kicked in at every door you knock in, and no one's it's getting the reps in.
Yeah.
And I think that sales is so important that people they overlook it, or there's this negative connotation behind it, and people oh, you're a car salesman. It's what kind of advice, or what's your story on sales, or what do you think about sales?
I love sales. Yeah. It's challenging. I think one thing for anyone coming up, to your point, if you're going to have your own business, you have to know how to talk to people. Mm-hmm. And so when I look back, that was my biggest challenge. I remember working at Circuit City, first sales job, and customer comes up, you got to sell them, you got to greet them, you got to sell a warranty. And I think just learning how to talk to people is a very, very important thing to learn. Mm-hmm. Because again, in business, if you're going to take funding, if you're going to grow, if you're going to network, you have to be able to go into a room and spark up a conversation about a watch. Mm-hmm. And so I think, for anyone, it's just have a conversation.
Yeah.
One thing my dad taught me is learn about the person. You hear the build rapport, but no, seriously, one reason I've always been successful is I care about people. And so when I'm talking and I'm asking questions about how to solve something for them, I really come from the place of wanting to help.
Yeah.
And if you come from the place of wanting to help, it's going to be a great relationship between you and whoever you're selling to, because you're really
the rest comes easy. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's where my success has been. Where when I talk about life insurance, somebody I'm talking about, hey man, your family, I see you're a stay-at-home mom. You're a single breadwinner. This is no brainer, man. You need this. And it's super easy to, when you care, are you selling? Yeah. Are you educating? Probably more educating, and let them make the decision. But I've also gotten so far on my natural ability to talk to people without really honing it. So that's kind of what I want to go to the next level, is actually get better at that, because there's levels to this game, right? If people can sell shit that doesn't need to be sold, they can still sell it, right?
Correct.
I want to get to that level, but maintaining my authenticity. Because right now my success comes from being authentic, right?
Right.
So I don't want to lose that edge, but I want to just get better at whatever I'm, telling. I just want to get better at that, right? You kind of have that. I'm 2 years into this.
Yeah.
Doing pretty good, right? But people like yourself, this has been a lifelong learning thing, right?
It has.
So it's you're compounding your knowledge and your skills, and you're coming out of objections more and more, and just evolving. And I'm just I'm 2 years in, fucking winging it, bro. Which gives me hope that there's another level to this game too for me.
Yeah.
Time out really quick.
Yeah.
Let's adjust the mics a little bit. Bring your joint down even more, because when you lean back, it covers a little portion of your face. And then if you need to adjust yours anyhow, now's the time to do it. If you need to pull it down some more.
Am I good still? How's that? More better?
That's perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, so as long as you keep it there, you can lean back.
Cool.
Am I good right here?
Yeah, I would bring it down just a little bit. It's covering it. Yep.
Yep.
Okay, you're good.
Cool.
Yeah. So and then another thing we touched on was support. So when you made the switch, or when you had you had your wife and your kid, you had some people to depend on you.
Yeah.
But here you are making this harebrained idea, this wild card move.
Right, yeah.
What was that like? Was there like, not resentment, but was there like, hey, what are you doing, buddy? Like,
no,
go
so
down?
yeah. So one thing that makes it easy, I think, is at least in my situation, is providing financial security to the people that matter.
Yep.
So, for example, if you've got 6 or 12 months savings and you're making this change, then the people around you is not as crazy, right? So, my wife knowing, okay, we're going to still be able to pay the mortgage.
Yeah.
It's okay. And so I think when I look at, sometimes you have to sacrifice in the short term, whether it's working for somebody you don't like or doing something you don't want to do, but building up that nest egg to then be able to take the risk. So for me, it was easier to have that conversation because it was like, no matter what, we're good.
Yep.
Like the mortgage is going to get paid. We don't have to worry about food and things like that. And so I was blessed to say it was easy because, I look back and, my father a long time ago when my parents were married, he was in the dealership. He left to do mortgages and he wasn't able to see it through. And he probably would have been $1 million mortgage, but we had a lot of bills.
Yeah.
He couldn't survive the time of not making money.
Yes.
So he tried it for a few months and he had to go right back to the dealership. And so we talked about earlier, learning from other people, maybe mistakes or things they did different. I said, okay, when I do this, I'm going to make sure I have money saved in the bank. So therefore I don't have to worry about that because it's stressful. I mean, you're trying to make a lot of money and then you're trying to provide, you're trying to pay bills. But when you have that cushion initially, it enables you to take it it clears your mind. I mean, because you can't be successful as a salesperson when you're stressed.
Yeah.
At least in my opinion.
I think too, like, support from the family is huge, right? Also, like, I'll be honest, and my wife and I have talked about this, like, she was not supportive. We were going through some hard times. She didn't get it. Why are you doing this to the family? All this shit. But all that did for me was like, all right, I see. You're going to see.
Extra motivation.
I do well with that. I do well with some pressure.
Yeah.
I do well with this chip on my shoulder. I mean, I've lived my life that way, and it's just done well for me. So, like, in a weird way, I thank her. Like, hey, had you said, oh, baby, it's going to be fine. Don't worry about it. I don't do well with attaboys. I do better like, hey, you ain't going to fucking do this. What are you doing, dummy? Oh, really? Not do it, right?
Yeah.
So, like, for different people, it works, man. But, like, sometimes support, people are worried about having support. Like, man, sometimes you don't need support. Like, sometimes you need you. And if you can do it, they're going to figure it out. They're going to watch from the sidelines anyway. Whether you win or lose, they're watching from the fucking seats. You're the one out there performing. You're the one that has to do it. Fuck everybody else. So different sides of that story. But like, some people are just like, man, if I don't have the support of my wife or my wife's not going to like it, it's like, man, do it.
Yeah.
Don't give her any ammo and fuck
right.
it up. Like, don't miss, motherfucker. But like, do it. But like, it's a huge part. Like the support thing, man, because I didn't have it, but like it helped me. Yeah. And it wasn't like, oh my God, you're a loser. It was just like, why would you do this, man? We already got it.
We're doing well.
Good. We're doing right. But me is like more is more. I want better, and I want this to be a better life for everybody. And talked about giving back. I want $100 million one day so I can give some shit back and do some cool shit. Hop on a private jet and go rescue some kids from fucking Ukraine or whatever. It's like silly shit, but it's meaningful stuff, right? And you can do that with money. Yeah. It takes money.
Money is. Yeah, you need it. Unfortunately,
you need it. It's a tool. It's a tool.
It's definitely a tool. Yeah, but no, I think you nailed it. I mean, it's. I think also my wife saw how much I worked, right? Yeah. So she saw. I mean, I was giving 24/7 to companies, organizations, and so and so for her it was. Well, if we can still pay all the bills and you can do this, like this is better because she saw. I mean, I did not spend any time with my family, kind of working for these W-2 companies, and nothing negative, but I gave my all. That's why I was like, I should do this for myself instead of giving them all this time. And I mean, I'm taking my first family vacation tomorrow in 5 years. That's amazing. Because.
Where are you guys going?
Orlando.
Nice.
Orlando, Disney? Yeah, Disney.
Okay.
Yeah. Or actually, no, Universal, not Disney. Universal.
Yeah.
So
I went there a couple years ago, and I think I was a kid once, and I had to go back as an adult with the kids. It was cool. Yeah. It's special, man. Like, you have a daughter, you said?
Yeah, stepdaughter. One stepdaughter.
How old is she?
12.
Okay, yeah. So you showed her that, she'll never forget it. Because I went there when I was about 9 or 10 the first time.
Yeah.
Never forgot it. I brought my kids back there, right?
Yeah.
I probably won't ever go back again because see it once, see it twice, see that's good, but like, do it once.
It's expensive. You don't want to go back.
Exactly.
It's expensive.
Not official financial advice.
That's definitely a financial advice.
They'll never forget it. They'll understand what it took. When they go take their kids to go do it one day, like, damn, Dad spent a lot of money. It's a big deal. It wasn't just a movie theater ticket, right? This is a big deal. If you live anywhere outside of Florida to go to Orlando and stay in a hotel, go to the tickets and the fucking popcorn and all the bullshit, it all adds up.
It does. Oh, definitely.
Very expensive.
Woo, it's very expensive.
Very worth it. I promise you it's worth it. Being a kid going and having kids taking them, it's awesome that you're doing it, man.
Yeah.
Did you ever go as a kid?
Went to Disneyland in California.
Okay.
Yeah. One
Similar.
thing, it's funny you said that because one thing my parents blessed me with is I had those experiences.
Yeah.
Disneyland, I went on a couple cruises and things like that. And so that was something I always wanted to be able to provide for my family because it's, again, it's being lucky and being blessed. And I was privileged to have my parents and they did that. And so I want to be able to pass that down to people that I know and care about. So
same for me. Mine was White Sox games. As a kid. Yeah. Big White Sox fan. That's my little bobblehead right there. So like when I got, when I could drive myself, so like pretty much 16 on, I would drive myself to games. Think, oh, this is cool. It's what adults do, right? And I realized, man, these fucking tickets are expensive, man. Hot dogs are expensive at ball games. Then you turn 21, you have a beer. It's like, man, this shit. So my parents brought me when they had no money, and now I get why it was. You get your one thing and that's it. Like, don't be greedy. Like, I get that now because hey, we get to go do this experience. Let's not overdo it so we can keep doing these experiences, right? Yeah. And now I'm gonna probably ball out and spoil the kids, and we buy the fucking $100 hoodies when it's too cold. You go there not prepared. You buy the hoodie and it's like, damn, it's $100 for a sweatshirt. Damn,
we're in the wrong business.
Exactly, I know, right? That's right. So what else? What else do you do for fun, man? What else do you do besides like you said your vacation coming up? It sounds like you're a workaholic, which is a good thing.
It is.
I actually can connect with that.
Yeah.
But what else you got going on, man?
Yeah. So I mean, obviously, watch collecting. That's a big thing. I mean, so I just joined a watch collecting group, CP Time, a few months ago. So really awesome guys out of DC and Florida. Yes, work out, try to stay in shape. I fast. I only eat once a day, so I'm big on health.
Is it like every day you do that? Or?
Yeah, it's only once a day. Okay. So today I haven't eaten yet, and I try to once a month. I do a 3-day fast. So I actually go 72 hours. I do it every single month.
So I did that. Was it a month, 2 months before Christmas? I did it.
Yeah,
72-hour fast.
How was that?
And it was my first time. I do intermittent fasting most days. Okay. I do 16 and 8 most days. Okay. Very few times do I eat breakfast. I don't like breakfast anyway, but 16 and 8 is pretty easy for me. Pretty conditioned to that. Yeah. I don't do the. I guess you're running like 23 and 1 kind of deal, or what?
Yeah, I guess no matter 20 and 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. That's a little more extreme, and I haven't done. I recognize the benefits from it. The 72-hour fast I did. I guess all these people kept on saying, "Oh, you're getting all kinds of energy, this, that." And I don't think I did it right. Mm-hmm. I felt like shit for 3 days, and then I guess maybe you're supposed to.
Yeah, the first time. Yeah.
Okay. Then I came back and I ate like a starving refugee kid, and I didn't catch myself. So I was like, I had those factor meals. Mm-hmm. I didn't catch myself until I was ripping open the second one, and food went everywhere. And I didn't even think I started grabbing it with my hand, and I'm eating it while I'm trying to. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? But I was so hungry after that. I guess I shouldn't say that. I wasn't hungry, so I started eating. Once I took my first bite, it was like a primal just took over, and I just couldn't stop. So I think it's like put it all back on the next day. So I didn't do it the best way, but I will do it again. I think about once a month is a good idea to do it. So what got you into fasting?
So essentially, so my brother's he's really into fitness, and he was pushing me to fast for a long time. And then essentially what happened is I went on a business trip and I was putting on a suit and my suit didn't fit. I was sitting down in the Uber and my pants were about to rip. Okay. And I said, this is an issue. This is enough. So I got home and I was like, wow, I weigh 210 pounds. And so I was like, Google, how do I lose weight fast? And it was like, just fast. I was like, okay. So I just did a 3-day fast. I mean, my wife jokes, I go extreme when I do things. So I go like, I didn't try to do what I did 72 hours, and I felt horrible.
Yes,
but now it's not that bad now, and so.
So are you able to work out when you do that then still? Or you just
so I walk. I try to walk. So I try to at least do a 2 to 3 mile walk when I'm fasting. Okay. I haven't tried to lift weights yet when I've done it. I've heard that's really good.
I did,
but I'm scared too.
I just couldn't turn it off. It's such a part of my routine. I didn't want to give that up, so I just kept. And I wasn't going crazy, but I was like, I was getting my workout in. But I just felt like ass. I had the bone broth, electrolytes, but like just I don't know.
Yeah,
I'll do it again. I'm gonna have maybe coach me through, man.
Yeah, it's. I swear by now, eating once a day, I'm out. Like even right now, so I haven't eaten since 7 o'clock. Actually, I'm not even hungry. So once you start doing it a lot, it's
I agree because I feel that way for my 16 and 8. I feel the same way. I don't get hungry. I mean, I work out in the morning. I won't even eat my post workout until noon, right? So I just feel fine. I stay leaner that way. I have a tendency to put on body fat easier than most, right? So like to me, I'm a what they call it easy gainer. Muscle and fat,
right?
I am. I can put on the muscle, but I can also put on the fat. So I have to try not to, right? So I'm not lifting weights to get bigger. I'm lifting weights to be maintained, right? So like, yeah, that's cool. So what about cold plunges or anything like that? You ever done that?
I've never tried it. I've heard a lot of people say I need to do it, but I've yet to try it.
We should do it because I've done it. I started doing a bunch last year, and I got kind of a pain in the ass because it was outside in a horse trough thing I bought, but the ice got so thick it was a pain in the ass all winter. So like. It'd build up, I'd break up the ice, and then it'd get like the ice would be like fucking 2 feet thick. I just couldn't keep doing that. So this year I didn't do it. But I'll tell you, when I did do it, they're not lying with how good you feel, how quick you feel. It's the second you step out of that tub, for the rest of the day, you feel better. It's this rising effect. It's really weird. And some people just won't do it. They're just like, oh, no, there's no way that feels good. It's like, no, it does suck for 2 minutes. If you tell me anything's going to suck for 2 minutes and I'll feel better for 23 hours and 20 or whatever, 58 minutes, I'll do that. And that's what that is. So you do it bad for 2 minutes, you get over it, you step out, and you feel better. And it's also some health stuff too, internals, you know?
That's why I love fasting. But you said it earlier, but I've had people who are very overweight. Oh, I can't believe you can eat. And it's just like, well, it's a sacrifice. And now I can eat whatever I want. And it's, you only get one body. So it's important to me. So that's why I'm going to try the cold plunge. Like you said, it's a couple minutes, it's not going to kill me. And it's, fasting changed my life. Literally, it
How long have you been doing it?
See, that trip was about a year ago, so about a year.
No shit.
About a year, yeah. Cool. I love it. So my wife does it too, and so she loves it. She's lost some weight and she's loving her physique. So again, I swear by it. And then when I can't work out, I'm able to maintain because I only eat once a day. So that's what I love about it, is being busy. If I don't work out, it's not a big deal.
Are you still consuming roughly 2,000 calories or your calorie amount, or less than that? What do you think?
Probably about 1,500 to 2,000. Yeah.
So you're not really cutting out a lot of food. You're eating a little bit less than you maybe otherwise would, but the biggest thing is when you eat, timing of it. Yeah.
Right, and just eating once.
Getting behind the science of things sometimes is cool because like you could do exactly that, but you could mess it up with sugar in your coffee. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because people are like, oh, I'm fast. But what do you have? Oh, but I had Kool-Aid or I had a Gatorade. And it's like you mess your whole fast up.
Gotta have black coffee.
Yeah, exactly. So like people can sometimes just be off a little bit, minor adjustment, and they're back. It's kind of cool in the science behind it. When I did my 72-hour fast, I did it with a buddy of mine, kind of online. We're just like, yeah, you want to do it? I'll do it. Fuck it, let's go. I think we shared an article Dana White did or whatever, and he talked about it.
Oh, I did. I saw that video. Yeah,
that's kind of like where I got the idea from. Like, oh, fuck up. I'm always down for cool shit like that. Yeah. So I did it, and about a day and a half into it, I knew already to take black coffee. I was already doing it because from fasting before. Right. So I was already doing it. My buddy's like, how you doing, man? We're kind of checking on each other every day. He goes, dude, I'm doing good, but like, I got the headaches really bad.
So bad when you first do it.
And I'm like, dude, not drinking enough water and coffee. You're having caffeine withdrawals. That's what that is. He goes, oh, has a black coffee. He's good. He was about to quit. I got him into finishing it up, So having someone to go through it with is huge, man.
Yeah. Yeah, that's huge.
How are we doing on time?
46.
Where's my sign at, bro?
Epic failure.
Now we're doing good. What else? Is there anything else you want? Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're doing good. Cool. Oh, is that sports betting?
Yeah.
So you basically about both. That is something I do a lot of now. So a lot of sports betting.
So Vegas, you're out there gambling too.
Yeah. Well, you can do it in Colorado. Colorado has so many apps.
You're not a degenerate gambler.
I'm a degenerate. I'm almost ashamed of it. I'm almost ashamed. The other day I went to Vegas. I would need help with my cousin.
Did you go since we went together?
Yeah. So I went to NADA, actually, the conference.
What day was that?
That was Friday.
I was there the 31st through
I was there Friday to Monday because I just flew back. Today's Tuesday? Yeah, I just flew back yesterday.
Okay,
morning.
cool.
Yeah.
What's up, guys? I know you're enjoying the podcast, but I want to pause this. I want to bring some attention to my sponsors, Telson Tequila. I want to go over a few cool little facts with these guys. So they are from Las Vegas, and there's thousands of tequilas in the world. Telson is one out of only 40 tequila brands that owns their own distillery. So it's super unique. It's a big flex, right? It's really fucking cool. So based out of Las Vegas, super rad. Check them out. Use our discount code FINAD20, TelsonTequila.com.
I was just saying, I was there for an ADA conference doing some more networking.
Okay.
And I'm just a big sports bettor.
So what, are you betting on like random games or Korean baseball or is it like NBA? What is it?
So mainly it's basketball, football, but I'm a DJ, and so like
the other night, weird shit, don't you?
So I was ready to get on my flight, and I was in my app, and I was like, I need something to bet on. So I bet on soccer. I legit bet on soccer. I bet on 2 soccer games, and I won 2 out of 3.
Okay.
So.
Are you ever doing parlays, or are you doing like?
I do some big parlays.
All right. What's your biggest parlay you ever hit? I love these stories.
I hit one. So I've hit 2 big ones. I hit one. It was a 5-player touchdown prop bet. It was actually with Austin Eckler. I actually joked with him when we met him in Vegas.
You tell him about that?
Yeah, I did. Nice. So I think I won about $6,000 on that one.
Hell, what was the bet?
It was him to score a touchdown. I think Keenan Allen to score a touchdown, and then 4 players on the Lions to score a touchdown. And then
how much was the bet to win $6,000?
$100.
Yeah, that's what's cool. People don't understand. Like that's why parlays are addicting because you got to bet. I do like $20 bets all the time, and they're like they never pan out. But
yeah,
I had a couple hit, but it's fun.
Yeah.
So anyhow, go on. So what? So
that one, soccer. And then I've done. I think mainly now it's college basketball. So that's the big one. So I plan on going back to Circa and staying for March Madness. So I'll be back in March. If anybody wants to come out there, I'll be there. But yeah, a lot of college hoops.
I'm going out there for the rugby game, March 2nd.
Rugby, March 2nd.
Yeah. There's an excuse to go if you want to go, buddy.
Hey, I mean, check that. If I can bet on it, I won't go. So.
Yeah. What's funny is I end up inherently, people always say, oh, man, you're in Vegas again. I'm like, I don't go just to party and mess around, right?
Same here.
It's business. It's networking. It's expanding my network. Yep. If I leave my house, I'm trying to make money. If I'm in Vegas, you better believe I'm trying to make money. Now, people will see the gambling and the fuckery. That's kind of by design. I want people to see I'm having a good time too. But like I'm out there working, man. But I like the gambling part because I just kind of became a blackjack player. I don't know if were you at the tables we were playing with?
I was watching you and John. Yeah,
that was a bad night for me. So I don't want to talk about it, but in general, I do pretty good. That night was rough. That was the only night I was up 20 grand, I think, and I went to zero. So I had 30 grand at one point. Sat down with 10, up to 30, and normally that's a clear fire. I'm up and I'm out. But I was having so much fun playing with John because me and John were the ones playing, right? And I felt like I was at the cool kids table playing with this baller. I felt equal to him, even though I wasn't, had no business playing, but I was keeping up with him. I was playing for a long ass time. It was really fun. And then I got to the point where I think I got down to my last 10 grand. And instead of just like playing that like normal and probably having a chance for a comeback, I got tired and drunk and lazy. I'm like, hey man, let's put 5 grand in that hand. I'm tired of this shit. And then I never came up from 10. So I lost, I pushed on that one. Then I lost. Then I went to my last 5 grand, won back to 10, pushed again, lost, and I was out. I'm like, cool, I'm out. So I got some hella comps from that. The next trip I went back to just 2 weeks ago went up big again. And it got to the point, I don't know if I saw a story on my Instagram or not, but I was up big one trip, coming from like minimal wins and like really big win. I'm like, I'm a fucking professional backpack. I am good at this shit, you know? 3 trips in a row, lose all my winnings. Now I'm below zero. I'm like, damn, this is not fun. So then my last trip there, I'll bring my last 10 grand that I'm willing to gamble. I'm like, all right, man, if this is done, this was a cool ride. This maybe just isn't for me. Maybe I got lucky and I lose it. I'm like, well, I guess I'm done gambling. These comps have been nice. I'm out. Then I had a film crew there. I was just filming some content. And he's like, hey, man, let's film you playing some blackjack. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I'll go to the ATM. I pull out another 3 grand. Didn't tell him. I didn't have the heart to tell him I lost I was done. I'm like, I'm not a gambler anymore, buddy. I didn't have the heart to tell him I was not of that life anymore. Like, yeah, I'll pull out 3 grand. Well, I take 3 grand. He watches me play. I run up to like $5,500, and then I should have walked away, but I was having fun. Bring it back down to plus 500, so I'm at $3,500. I'm like, whew, that's a win, man. All these, I've had I got like 50 grand of losses in a row. I just won $500. I'm going to call it quits, right? So done filming, cool, $3,500. I'm still down the fucking 10 grand from earlier, so I had this feeling I want to keep playing, right? Go to Bellagio, just went to dinner over there. Never played there before, so I take my $3,500, double it to 7 grand. I'm like, I am back. I got this, right? So I take my 7 grand, go back to MGM Mansion where you saw me playing.
Yep.
And I run up to like 25 grand. I'm like, oh, I am fucking
You're back.
Dude, I am really back now. So I'm like, all right, cool, done. I take my 25 grand back to my room. We go out to Cosmo to have some dinner, fuck around, have some drinks. Get back to MGM. I'm like, get that 5 grand back. I'll leave the 20 there, but I'm gonna take 5 out. I'm not done yet, you know?
That always happens.
Take that 5 out, run up to 15 or up to 20. So come home with 40 grand. So now I'm back. Overall, I'm plus 10 grand in Vegas.
Oh shit!
With a shitload of comps, which is it's a lot of fun.
It is. Yeah. No, it's addicting. It's a lot of fun. Yeah. I mean, I started doing it heavy last month.
When do you think it becomes a problem for people?
When you can't afford to lose it all.
There you go.
I mean, in my opinion, so like last month, I think I made 30 grand from sports betting.
Yeah.
And there's been some days I've had 30, 40 out in a day. Ooh. And people think it's crazy, but I'm always just recycling.
Yes.
And so I actually started heavily tracking it last month, and I was surprised at how much I won. I was up 30 in December. Last month I made like 20. This month I'm having a rough start though. I'm down like 10 to start the month. But yeah, it's.
So are you betting at a casino that gives you comps based on those bets or no?
No, so it's mainly just like now online through apps. So because in Colorado, obviously we have Caesars, and then Circa's a big one.
Okay.
And then
Bet MGM,
but a lot of them are blocked on. So that's one thing I will say. If anyone says they're a big sports bettor and they're not blocked on apps, they're not telling the truth. Because the apps will start blocking you. They'll start blocking you.
Because you're doing too well?
Yeah, so BetMGM, so for example, if I try to go bet on BetMGM's Colorado app, if I try to bet $100, I'll get capped to like $2.
What?
Yes, they will cap your account. If they see that you're starting to beat their lines, they'll cap
So basically the only way to actually I'll do that is actually physically go to Vegas and bet the casino, right?
Correct.
If you do that, are you getting comps?
Yeah, but the comps they're not that great. So like when Caesars opened, so like when Caesars first started and I was gambling there, I got like Diamond Plus really fast.
Okay.
But I think what Caesars started realizing is that that's something they could lose in because sports bettors can beat their lines, they can bet it early.
You money line bets. Right?
Correct, right? Yeah. Or if you bet it like when the line opens at, 49ers +2, and then all of a sudden it gets moved, they end up losing.
Got it at 2.
Right, and so that's how the apps block you because they track it. So what they were doing with me is they were like, this guy Clarence is not making regular bets. I was going in at like midnight. I'd bet on something and I'd log off. I wasn't doing like big parlays. And so like BetMGM, DraftKings, I can't bet anything on those. And then on
you got some
FanDuel, I can bet, but they still counter me.
So really you're kind of reduced to in person in Vegas.
Yeah.
Kind of getting there, right?
Yeah, or Circuit and Caesar. Right now, the only two I have left are Circuit and Caesar. And that's honestly part of the reason I increased my betting because I'm like, eventually they'll probably cut me off, so I might as well maximize my ROI now. Yeah. Because eventually I'll have to go to Vegas. So. Okay. Yeah, but my wife's good with it. She's like, hey, you can go to Vegas as long as we go on family vacations.
Man, I don't know, JSX, you ever fly them? Oh. You ever watch JSX? I'm probably get JSX as a sponsor, dude.
Oh, so snap.
JSX airline, where you live?
Aurora, Denver.
Okay, so this
by DIA.
So DIA is really close for you. It'll be slightly inconvenience for that part, but JSX is like semi-private.
Oh, okay.
So you'll walk to the airplane, sit on this jet that's basically private with strangers. Super badass. And then the pricing of it is really similar to first class. Okay. But if you try to book a first class like for tomorrow's flight, it's outrageous, right? Because as it gets closer to the flight, they increase the pricing.
Yep.
JSX doesn't do that. Oh. So if you need a last second flight from Denver to Vegas, you go JSX, it's probably cheaper. It's cheaper than first class.
No way, really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
it's probably cheaper than a coach seat because of the last second.
I definitely need to check that out.
They charge like for the Vegas round trips, average between $500 and $800.
What? Yeah. That's it?
Yeah. And you walk to the plane, bro. You walk on the I'm not talking like you walk outside up the stairs on the fucking runway. It's badass, dude. JSX, and so they only from Denver. It's actually out of Broomfield.
Okay.
They only fly 4 locations: just Dallas, Vegas, Scottsdale, and my rent reducer is going by right now. My rent reducer,
the watch I sold. Yeah. They finally got me. They got me. They finally got me, man.
The trains and sirens. Keep the rent cheap around here. And the other location is fucking Burbank, California. Only 4 places from Denver, but man, Vegas is convenient.
So was it Vegas? You said Vegas?
Scottsdale.
Okay. Which I love. I used to live in Arizona.
Yep, Dallas and Burbank.
Oh, okay.
It's super convenient. If you have any dogs, you fly with dogs. It's first class. The whole plane's first class. They give you the Wi-Fi. It's awesome, dude. It's definitely an experience. It's really not much more money, but the convenience is worth it.
$500 to $1,000. That's not that much more money.
Exactly.
That's not
compared to what you're otherwise. It's less than double, and it's same as first class, especially a last second first class trip.
Yeah.
So we'll go JSX, go to Vegas for a
yes,
day. I've already done it before. That's my big win. I left $10,000 there. So I just jumped on a JSX flight, jammed out there for the day. Hit up my host. Give me a room.
Oh man,
I lost at $10,000 that day though. I was pissed. But yeah, dude, gambling's fun. I think you get to a certain level where it's fun to gamble because it's just fun to gamble. It right? Is. And man, I don't know about you, but like winning $30,000 is not going to change my life. Okay.
Yeah.
It's not financially going to. It's cool.
Yeah.
It feels cool. Also, without bragging, like if I lost $30,000, it's not going to change my life either. Right.
Correct.
So like that's where it's fun.
It is.
Does it suck? Yeah, of course. Remember, it might ruin my day if I lose $30,000. That's about it, right? It's stressful, but it's fun. Yeah. It's a release, whatever. But having the self-control not to let it get too far, super important. And there's a lot of people just like alcohol, man. Like I'm blessed where I can have a drink and have fun. I'm blessed where I can have a gambling run and have fun. Like all my vices, whatever you want to call them, I can control within moderation, which allows me to have fun with them. So, I mean, what kind of advice do you give people that want to get into gambling because they see the glitz and glamour of sports gambling or even blackjack? Like, what do you recommend people not start it? You recommend, hey, have some fun?
I'd say probably don't start it, but if you do it, I mean, here's the thing. If you do it and you truly want to make money, you have to dedicate a lot of time.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to make money, I mean, I'm sure like blackjack, I mean, you got to play by the book. You got to do everything right. And the same with sports betting. I mean, I am pretty disciplined. I mean, I Sometimes I wake up in the morning and I'm checking lines. And so,
are you checking lines and are you research? How deep do you go? Are you checking on like superstars' girlfriends? Like, like shit like that. Like how deep are you going on this?
So what I do is I actually try to read the market. So what I do is football, I know that sport a little bit better in basketball, but like when I bet on that soccer match, it was pretty much just everybody had a price.
That was an addiction.
One thing.
That was an addiction bet.
Yeah, no, it was. Yeah, no, it was right. But I just look at the lines and I kind of study what the lines are doing because what I've learned is that trying to research. All these bookmakers have already done that. So the reason why BetMGM prices it like this is because they know that Patrick Mahomes is injured or they know something's up. And so what I do is I try to find discrepancy. So
they're already doing the line.
Correct. So I find the line that hasn't moved yet. So for example, if every book thinks that the 49ers are going to win because they know something, but then someone doesn't, I bet the other one because it pays more.
Got it.
So one thing I would tell people is don't get emotional about it. Just like with blackjack, right? If you lose 10 in a row, still do the right thing on the 11th hand.
Yes, correct.
Same with betting.
Yes.
Don't change how you bet because you had one bad thing happen. Be consistent if you're going to try to do it and make money.
For me, don't bet with the White Sox because they're a shit team right now. I love my White Sox. I can never bring it to myself to bet against them, but like, don't get emotional with your bets, right? It's huge.
I bet against the Celtics last week. They're my favorite team. I made $5,000 on the bet, and some of my friends were like, "You're sick."
Hurt though, man. Like,
it was a game. I think LeBron and AD were both out, and so the Celtics were supposed to blow them out. And I saw a discrepancy in the line that one book was paying more than it should.
Really?
And I bet it and won like $5,000. And people were like, "You have an issue." I was like, "I just like making money."
Man, no shit.
Yeah.
Let's talk offline about this.
Yeah, we do.
That's fun shit, man.
Yeah.
What else, man? What else do you want?
Man,
this is cool, right?
No, this has been great.
Let's talk about your podcast. Let's talk about that. So like, the whole podcast,
not official yet,
unofficial, right? But
yeah,
I like that. I can talk about how my podcast came to be, and we'll kind of wrap it up with that, and hopefully encourage you to do yours.
Yep,
so like, I attended an event. In fact, it was actually 1 year to the day we filmed the episode with Will. Was the day that I went to an event here in Denver, and Will and Eli were putting on this event. Basically, like, hey, here's how you start a podcast if you want to. Here's the value in starting a podcast. Here's the nerdy tech side of it. Here's everything you need to know about starting a podcast. I went just for the networking, just the lender chicks that I knew well. I'm kind of plugged in with them. Would kind of go to these networking events with them just to network, just to get out of the house. I was working from home, just to fucking get out and talk to people. Right?
Yeah.
I was newer in the business, and I go there and I'm like, man, these guys are making a lot of good points. Like, I'm not really ready to do my own podcast. Who the fuck wants to talk to me? But like, I can be on podcast. I can be a guest on podcast. So I got my reps. I did like 10 or 12 podcasts, and I was like, I was getting good reviews. People like, hey man, you do pretty well. Like, what would look like if you did one? I'm like, okay. That noise kept getting louder. Like, okay, I see a niche for it. And then the funny story about how all this came together was I reached out to a guy online here locally in Denver because he had one. And I was just trying to get on local podcasts, man, because I'm paying some money to be on some other big ones when I travel. But man, let's get on some little close ones and just get my reps in, right? And he goes, cool, let's have a conversation, though. Before you come out, let's have a conversation. I'm like, all right. So I called him up. We started talking and kind of shifted from like, hey, I was like, finally, I'm like, do you need a co-host? Is that what you're trying to do? He's like, yeah, do you want to do it? I'm like, yeah. I was already going to start one, but like this kind of speeds things up. And I've been really hesitant to do it because I didn't know how the tech side of it. And so I'm like, cool. And then like in the same time frame, Ace, my producer here, he had his own podcast. So I got invited to be on his podcast. So I'm like, all right, cool, I'll go be on yours. And I saw how he worked on his shit and he had all the tech shit. He was like a one-man show, like a fucking circus. He had everything figured out by himself. He's just by himself, right? All right, cool. Remember that, right?
Yep.
Then I go on, we talked to Justin and we're like, I think I got a guy to be our producer because he didn't have one either. So I think I got a guy. So I hit him up. I'm like, you want to do this? He goes, yeah. So the three of us in like a 10-day time frame, put all this together. All the gear, everything. We came up with the name, all the cool shit, right? It's like, all right, cool, we're done. Let's go. Film the first episode. It's like introductory episodes to me and the co-host. Get home that next day. And it was like the next day, I think. Hey, guys, I'm out. I'm like, what? Because, man, work won't let me do it. They're not really hip on the idea. They're going to make me take a reduction in my my role at work. I just can't have that. Like, good luck to you guys. I'm like, well, shit, we already started. I told everybody. I fucking told all my friends. I can't back out now. I'm already in it, Can't look like a bitch. I got to keep this thing going. So that's how it became just me. But I just wanted to jump into it and did it. And then ultimately, it's probably a good thing long term. Like, I probably more of a lone wolf type person anyway.
Yeah.
And this dude was super cool. But like long term, probably would have been that way anyway. It's better to get out of the way early. So like it worked out great, And but the whole idea of it was like, man, I'm not trying to be an influencer or be famous. Like I just want to get my message out and help more people and learn from people and just like understand what, people do, right? So like for you, it's a content machine, man. Just get it out, get out there and get your reps in and fuck up a few times and, have the editor fix it for you. And it's all good, man. It's a lot of fun. So you mentioned you bought some gear already and
so I got the mic, got a couple cameras. So me and my buddy, Scott O'Hara, he was the vice president at my previous company. But yeah, we've been talking about doing one. So we've been talking about doing a podcast, essentially just like mentoring. And, obviously both of us African Americans have made it very far and just kind of anyone can do it. And so we wanted to kind of get on and share our experiences and things like that. But we were both tied down to W-2s. So he's still at my last company. I'm not there anymore. So it's like, I now need to put the time into it and get everything set up.
Yeah.
And I just pretty much want to, again, network. I mean, he's got a business, Minister Mindset, where he works with companies and things like that. And so he wants to kind of get that launched. But again, he has a W-2 job. So it's a little bit of a struggle for him. And then obviously I want to do a podcast for sports betting. So a really good friend of mine, his name's Tom Chalek, is big in Vegas. He is like, you do so well, you need to start selling your picks. And so he's been pushing me to do it. And I probably would never sell my picks for like a couple grand, but like a subscription service, maybe it was like $15-20 a month and people have access to all the picks because I do it a lot. And especially when he started seeing my sheets, he was like, you're one of the best I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But just no one knows because I don't really talk about it. Yeah. And so, I don't know. So I don't know if I'm have two different podcasts, one podcast and do everything. I don't know.
It doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
It just get going. Yeah. Get it going. Who knows? I never thought it'd have one to begin with.
Yeah.
So far, so good. I've had guests, haven't had a shortage of guests. Yeah. Had some badass guests like yourself. Like it takes off a life of itself. You don't know how good you're going to do. I mean, you speak well on camera. You look professional. You talk well with people. You're likable, right? Like you can go really far with this. You don't even fucking know, man. You got a badass watch. You know what I mean? Like you already got the look, bro.
Yeah, no, my wife, she's actually been the biggest one. I mean, she bought me a mic a little bit before, just kind of like an entry level mic, just to kind of like, hey, I want you to do it. And I've been slacking. I just need to do it.
Yeah, you got talking voice. Yeah, you got.
You're selling me right now. You don't.
Shit, I've been working on my sales skills. You caught on too quick. Before we wrap this up, I want to talk about some like not financial advice, but like we talked about mentorship and like we talked about helping people out. Like, what would you, man, as far as like your investments or things you do outside of what you earn your income? Like, do you have money in real estate? You got money in stocks? What do you do with your stuff?
Real estate, yeah. So I have some rental properties back at home.
Memphis?
Back in Memphis, yeah.
It's one of the big 5 markets I want to get into.
It is, yeah, because the houses are really low, and so I have some money there. I have a little bit in my 401k from my previous companies, but I kind of like I'm okay with a little bit more risk, and so
you're a fucking sports gambler, dude.
Yeah, I know.
Say less.
Wait, I have an 8% lifetime return on that, so I have a lot of money into that. Yeah, it's so I mean, mainly rental property. That's my main thing, and that's what I want to get more of. So even right now, my main goal is with every income I make, is just to dump more into that.
There you go.
Just because inflation's going to go up, and
I love that because that's where I push people that I kind of coach with too. Is like I use life insurance to build equity. Because some people that I coach and work with, and my clients don't have anything. Starting at ground zero. So my ground zero buildup is life insurance, builds up the equity, borrow from that, buy a rental property, and use that stepping stone, right? And then people who do have a lot of money, it's like, hey, instead of blowing that $100,000, let's put it through life insurance first. It's going to grow. You're nodding your head. So have you heard of this?
My financial advisor, Des. Yep.
So you're already doing that, right?
That's a little bit. Yeah, I haven't got deep into it just because I've been doing a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. Well, it's cool because like it's just more confirmation of what I'm doing. Like talking to people who are more successful than me. I don't even know all your finances, but like the watch, the car, like I'm going on a limb. Like you're doing pretty good, right?
I know, right?
When I hear from people who are doing well, that are nodding and smiling along with what I'm saying, I love it, man. It works. Like, hey, dude, I know what I'm doing. I already know I'm doing the right thing. I'm doing it myself. I'm coaching people. Like you hear people that we're almost strangers, right? We met, but like hearing what you're doing, like, oh, this guy's already doing it. It's like cool. People that are. I'm doing the right thing, right? So I like that.
Yeah. I mean, I would tell anybody, just be open-minded. I mean, you don't have to go all into real estate. Do a little real estate. Put a little something in a 401k. Do a little whole life insurance. I mean, I think that's one thing that some people do is I'm sure you hear all the time, they turn themselves off to one thing.
Yes.
Oh, real estate's horrible.
Dave Ramsey says this. It's like, man, fuck a Dave Ramsey.
Right. I mean, it's mix it up a little bit. I mean, I do a little. I mean, there's some things I kind of do that are probably, like Dave Ramsey. Don't go into credit card debt. He's right. Don't go into crazy credit card debt. He is right on that. Right.
And so, exactly.
So mix it
all the time. He's right about certain things.
He is right. Everyone.
But he's raw. He's just misleading on something. But we said earlier on this podcast was take a little bit from everybody.
Yes.
I love that. And that's so accurate and it's so like truthful. Like, hey man, like you really go far if you just take a little bit from everybody. Because so many people have things to offer versus these Dave Ramsey nut huggers who only listen to what everything he says. Like, bro, you're going to be stuck if you just listen to one person.
You are. Yeah.
And it could be anybody. But
Yeah.
just listen to one person, you'll be stuck in what their mold is, and that's not always healthy. It's usually not healthy, actually. So.
No, normally it's not.
All right, this is great, man. I'm gonna wrap this up. I'm so glad you came up. This is
No,
really
I'm
cool.
happy. Thanks
It's
for
better
calling.
than expected. I know what to expect. I think it was part of what made this great was not know what to expect. And
No, I wasn't
cool.
prepared at all. Yeah, I didn't know what we were going to talk about, so I kind of had to do everything on the run. But
Good,
no, this is great.
Pretty good, right?
Yeah, no, this is great. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate
Thanks
it.
for having me. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Thanks.